Welcome back to Album Coverage, where we run through a recording artist's back catalog, cover by cover. Today we've got the Anglo-Indian jangle pop maestros Cornershop, who are not far off of one-hit wonders, really, to be honest. They've put out quite a few albums, though, enough that we could do one of these. But it really all comes down to Brimful of Asha, which we'll see was a single of theirs. But they've got a lot more work apart from that, going all the way back to 1993, and their first album was actually their first compilation, Elvis Sex Change, very cute name. It was a compilation of two EPs that they put out before. I'm not looking at EPs this time, so this is the first, full length, so to speak. Very obviously primitive cover. It says Mum. It could have been done by a 4-year-old. Maybe it was. I really don't know. If I use my imagination, this head person is holding a matchstick with a little squiggle of a hand, but then again, really all it is it's an orange circle with white legs and some blue stuck in there. It's not the best album cover in the world, but clearly at the time Cornershop were looking for a vibe. And then into 1994, January of 1994, you've got Hold On It Hurts, which is really the debut album. And I guess you've got Chinder Singh himself, I would guess. I don't know if I pronounced his name right, but I tried, so, 2 points for me. As a child, sitting in a laundry basket, holding a frozen chicken, with goggles on his face, which I have no idea why that's the album cover image, and why it's in front of a bed full of stars of different colors. Cheesy clearly is part of Cornershop's MO at this point, part of their aesthetic, what they want to look like. They want to be a little bit cheesy and a little bit random. And, Small Child Holding Frozen Chicken definitely qualifies as that. In 1995, we've got their second album, Woman's Gotta Have It, a bit of a breakthrough for the band, although we can see that they've still got this kind of this design that's like no design, like intentionally cheesy thrown together stuff. It's a person, I'm not sure if it's a girl or a boy, if it's the woman who's got to have it or not, doing a karate kick in front of a relatively dynamic swirling checkerboard. I don't know, it could have all been put together on 1995's paint programs. In fact, it very, very likely was, now that I look at it. For a breakthrough album, there's a pretty bad album cover. I know it's intentionally so, but, that doesn't change anything. And now what we're looking at here, this very, very different feel, is Luaka Bop, the American record label that Cornershop were signed to. I could just say, hey, this is the American release of Woman's Gotta Have It. But to give a bit more of a backstory, Luaka Bop, of course, was David Byrne's record label, and it was devoted primarily to world music. And, despite being Anglo-Indian, Cornershop have never really seen themselves as... Well, their music is very English, it's very indie, it's very psychedelic and whatever. So being signed to Luaka Bop was a little bit kind of like, hey, the lead singer is Indian, I guess that qualifies as world music, right? Actually, one of them was born in Newfoundland, I remember, which is bizarre. So anyway, Luaka Bop decides they want to put out an album cover that's actually got a little bit of design money behind it. And they've got this woman who presumably has got to have it, lounging on the ground. It's very retro, very 1970s looking. Like it's right out of a 1970s. Did I say 70s? 1960s? What am I talking about? 1960s. Like it could be Austin Powers' new soundtrack or something like that. But it's attractive. She's attractive. It's attractive. It's a nice cover, even if it's insincere, because it's not what Cornershop was looking for, and probably the American company just threw it together with little input from Chinder Singh and band. Now this is the one with Brimful of Asher on it. Brimful of Asher. When I Was Born for the Seventh Time, which is a pretty cool name for a bunch of Indian people, reincarnation and all that stuff. Now, but you can see there's, again, this very 1960s look to it, to the point that the record company Wiija. I'm going to go ahead and pronounce it Ouija, but I don't really know that for sure. With their logo very prominently displayed, stereo long player, and the band, or at least some of them, at work with lights of a bunch of numbers, specifically 1s and 8s, flashing on their face. Don't ask me why. I don't know what it means. I don't know what it's got to do with anything, and neither did Luaka Bop, again, who gave it this very Indian album cover. I shouldn't say very Indian. I mean, the girl is Indian. That's the extent of it. But, you know, again, with this idea that Luaka Bop really tried to emphasize the Indianness, whereas in England, perhaps they didn't. Maybe this is not relevant. Maybe I don't need to keep talking about it. It's just something that occurs to me. This, I would guess that when Brimful of Asha broke, Luaka Bop contacted Ouija and licensed this album and said, well, you know, what about the album previous to it? So I would guess that this came out in the United States before Woman's Gotta Have It. And this was the initial design aesthetic that they were looking for. Which is to put text all over the place, kind of codes and, you know, matrix numbers and things like that. And the photo of the girl, it's all like when you zoom in on a print, on a magazine photograph, and you've got all those dots that make up images very prominently displayed. And it is a kind of brownish, pinkish tone. It kind of reminds me of the tones that you find in makeup, in, you know, blush and stuff like that. So I like to think of this as a makeup ad. 2002, for some reason they decided to follow up their hit single with 5 Years of Silence, which is, you know, maybe not the most intelligent way to go about things, but there you go. And Hand Cream for a Generation, bit of a silly album title if you ask me, but nobody was asking me. And this is a woman. I can tell it's a woman because her shirt is open and she's got a bra on, but I can't see her face at all. It's kind of like Bra Girl is wearing an astronaut's mask, over which you can see an ear in white. She's all red, but the ear is white, and a bunch of dots indicating sound in some fashion. Yeah, I'm doing such a good job explaining this, am I not? But I don't know, the whole vibe here reminds me a little bit of Stereolab, a lot of Cornershop stuff. It's like they've been designed by the same people to get this retro, but maybe never really existed back in the 60s feel. And this bombed, as I recall, so, you know, we get on to Judy Sucks a Lemon for Breakfast. Don't ask me what that album title means. It's a very bizarre album title. We're up to 2009 now. Cornershop clearly takes their time putting out material. Giant pink lips sucking a lemon. Again, this could be like a Clockwork Orange, right? This is very 1960s, intentionally so. And again, very much like a Stereolab album might look. And a completely ridiculous album title. Cornershop and the Double O Groove of. That's the name of it. So I guess you're supposed to be able to read it over and over and over again. Cornershop and the Double O Groove of Cornershop and the Double O Groove of, like, the album title ends with the word of. Well, it doesn't, because featuring Bubbly Kaur, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but they got a female singer to be featuring. And this is, again, kind of childish. There's a woman with a blue face, so it's, you know, Avatar. Or who's that woman from the X-Men or the Avengers? Or there's some other blue girl anyway. But neither of them have long hair or very hippie-ish dresses on, as this girl does. And a whole bunch of very poorly drawn six-sided stars, a handful of which are filled in black. And that's my description of the album cover, because I don't have much to say about it. It's pink and black and blue. Urban Turban is a bad enough name, but the Singles Club, Singhles, the subtitle, is just that more atrocious, really. 2012. Now, I believe that this was a singles project. Cornershop put out a single. The Cornershop puts out a single every month or something like that, and then when they've got enough to compile an album, they go ahead and do so. And so this is a compilation too. There is a turbaned dude right at the center of a record which is clearly not a 7-inch, it's clearly a 12-inch, so, you know, what the hell's up with that? And radiating lines of color that start from Turban Man and go all the way to the outside, and it's, again, very psychedelic. In the year 2013, they put together 2 compilations in lieu of proper albums. This first one is called Snap Your Cookies. Your is spelt Y-R, like, you know, Sonic Youth Expressway to your skull. And Cornershop do seem to have a logo which is a very, very retro computer alphabet spelling of their name. And it's a telephone symbol with a lightning bolt through it, all in a kind of faux primitive way. And the telephone is saying, snap your cookies. That's the first of the 2. The second one is called The Hot for May Sound. And the kind of cassette-like appearance of this is real, because it did come out on cassette. Because, you know, that's a thing now. And it's a drink of lemonade with a lemon beside it. And they really like lemons. And it says The Hot for May Sound. I imagine that means Elizabeth May, the leader of the Canadian Green Party, and aren't we all hot for her? Okay, maybe not. I am Canadian, so that's why I'm speaking about that. And that's why I mentioned Newfoundland guy also. So, you know, it's my prejudices coming out. And it says Cornershop, The Hot for May Sound twice, and it's got the band's record company's logos twice, and it all looks so cute and retro, and yeah. And then here is a bit of an in-your-face album cover. Again, this could be Yellow Submarine, right? This is 2015. Hold On, It's Easy. Do you remember that album called Hold On, It Hurts? Well, this is that album redone with a naked woman while she's wearing a garter and a giant psychedelic swirl effect that's focusing your attention on her one nipple that you can see and pulling you in. And okay, I mean, it's Yellow Submarine. It's exactly what it is, and it's very, very retro. But, you know, retro is what Cornershop has been all along, and what they will continue to be for the next 700 years and 7 lives that they exist as a band. So good luck and lots of love to Cornershop, and goodbye.